What's up, everybody? Welcome to a special episode of Fabricate, where I'm going to talk to you guys, do a quick overview about my custom lightsaber hilt. I'm going to tell you a little bit about how I made it. I unfortunately made it on a whim, kind of winged it with a bunch of random stuff that I had, so I can't give you guys a step-by-step video like I usually do, but we're going to go over this one, the pieces that I used and the process that I used to make it. The first thing that I want to talk about is the biggest part of the lightsaber, the chrome cylinder here. That is actually a hollow chrome tube that I got from the bottom of a desk. I found it in a friend's garage where his dad, for whatever reason, had to cut the leg off of a desk, and they allowed me to keep it. So I actually had to cut it down even more. I used a cutting head for a Dremel, and I cut the end of it off. It's pretty scary. There were sparks flying everywhere, but ended up working out really well. Then down here at the bottom, the pommel is actually made of PVC. It's a piece of PVC pipe that I used the grindstone head on the Dremel to carve it, shape these little grooves and everything, and also had to carve out the inside. I'll take it off real quick to show you. The inside is filled with hot glue to keep on this piece right here, and I had to carve out the inside here. I had to bore it out a little bit because it didn't fit around the circumference of the outside of this bar here. So and then this piece on the end is actually originally was on the bottom of the leg of this desk. I took it off and put it onto this, which made a really nice little pommel. Other than that, it's just held on with pressure. So I would like to have this hanging from my belt, but I'm gonna have to figure out a good way to do it because I don't want all the weight of this piece hanging on, you know, just that pressure that's holding this piece on if I put a connection here. The inside of this is hollow, probably up to about here because of this piece, but we'll talk about that in a minute. And I can just push this back on and it's good to go. Next we have the leather wrap here. That is actually just some leather scrap that I got from Hobby Lobby. It's actually a bunch of pieces. You can see a piece right here that's the start of another piece. It's about 4 pieces that I cut. I had a big square piece that I cut into strips and I used it to wrap the handle. And I pretty much just, it's held on with a leather wrapping technique. It stays together by the pressure. So that's held on with that. You could look up leather wrapping for more info on that. And then there's a piece here and here that I wrapped around a single time and glued with hot glue just to make these lines look a little bit straighter here. Next is the ignition switch right here. This is actually just a piece that's been glued on. There's actually a hole underneath it. Eventually I want to try to convert this into a actual lightsaber with sound, and not a real lightsaber, but I want it to have sound and have a working switch and a blade and everything. I'm gonna have to look into how to do that. It's probably gonna be difficult. I know you can buy those pieces separately, so I'm gonna look into that. The orange piece here, the switch that I have temporarily, you might recognize it from this lightsaber, which is the Force Effects Darth Maul Master Replica's lightsaber. It's one of these knobs. I have another one and the knob broke off, so I just decided to use it here. So I just glued that on temporarily. Eventually I'm going to get an actual ignition switch and put it in there with wiring and everything. This next whole brass piece right here, all the way up to the actual piece here, these are all water and air hose fittings. Something else that my friend had in his garage that I was able to procure. This piece right here, it stops right about there. From there down is actually one giant piece that is a water connection, I think, but it goes about this far into this chrome piece right here. Luckily, as you can see, this textured area, there's another ring like that on the inside of this that causes it so that it fits perfectly within here, so that I pushed it in here and used a rubber mallet to knock it into place. So it's super sturdy. It's not coming out because it's knocked into place. I would have to run some kind of rod through the end here to knock it back out. This piece right here is an air hose fitting. The end of it is made for the quick disconnect air hose fittings. So it doesn't actually fit into this piece. It doesn't screw in or anything. I had to put it into place and then fill the cavity around the outside with hot glue. It's really sturdy for just having the, hilt be a hilt that hangs around my waist and I swing around and everything, but with no blade attached. When I do eventually attach a blade to it, I'm gonna have to reinforce that with maybe some epoxy. They have epoxy putty that when you mix it together, it just becomes like cement hard. I may have to do that, or I have a friend who has a forge that I may try to get him to pour some aluminum in there just to reinforce that a lot. But right now it's pretty sturdy. This piece right here is another water piece. It's a water spigot piece that I put on the end. This actually screws into this. It's at the moment it's fully removable because it screws in, which is kind of cool. It's not really something that I'm gonna be using or anything, but it's cool that I could take it apart that easy. And another thing is this piece rotates, so it doesn't rotate easily, so it's not really that big of a deal. But yeah, another thing is these pieces all are hollow all the way through, all the way down into this cavity here, so that when I do finally decide to put technology in it, I can run the wiring through pretty simply. Lastly, we have this piece on the top, the lightsaber blade shield. This is actually a piece of a bucket that broke outside in my backyard, and I needed some pretty sturdy plastic, so I took it, I cut it to shape with the Dremel and sanding it, and actually scissors, because it was, I could cut it with scissors. And I then took a heat gun and I heated it up till it was flat, and then I formed it to this piece. Burned my fingers, wouldn't recommend it. I would say try to use a rubber band or something in the future if you do this. And then I painted it silver with spray paint. This was also spray painted silver. Something that I like about the fact that the pommel and then the blade shield are both made out of, this is plastic, this is PVC, but they're both spray painted with the same silver, so it brings it from the top to the bottom and it really evens it out a lot. And then I used super glue to hold this on. I tried hot glue, it wouldn't stay. Then I tried super glue and it worked really well. Unfortunately, I have some super glue on the tips of my fingers now, which is not fun. I think that it came out really good. I'm super proud of it, and I really like the way that it came out. I definitely want to make some more in the future, but this one's going to be the one that I use for the cosplay that I'm planning on doing, which is an original character. I'm going to make some Jedi armor for it, some combat armor, because he's from the Old Republic and everything. And hopefully, if I lose enough weight, I can cosplay him by PAX South in January. Lastly, what I did was I went over the whole thing with some acrylic paint, blackwashed it like I've shown you in the previous episodes. It's actually rubbing off in areas, like it's not going to stick obviously because it's just acrylic paint on chrome, it's not going to stick. Which is okay, I don't really mind that, because those are the areas that in handling it in combat and stuff, if I were really a Jedi, I would touch those areas, and so they probably wouldn't get dirty. They'd probably stay polished as the amount of touching. You can see around the ignition switch here, you can see the dirt stayed, and that makes sense because it's in the crevices. So it's down here, it's all dirty and stuff, and it sticks pretty well to these brass pieces. So I think it looks super good. My original character was supposed to have built this in exile. He had to build it himself out of spare parts, so the way that it turned out and the way that it looks is really fitting. You can see some of the original orange right there that I have to touch up. I'm not perfect, so I have got to fix that, but let's just turn that like that. One of the advantages of making it out of metal is it has a really, really, really good weight to it. So, when you're swinging it around and everything, it has some heft. It might classify as a real weapon though, because you could probably knock somebody out with this thing. I hope you found this informative. You could probably find stuff like these pieces at Home Depot or a gardening store. This is just PVC that I carved, so you could find that at Home Depot as well. That's a piece of a bucket. You pretty much just find some sturdy plastic. You can use anything as a button and ignition switch, obviously. The thing that would probably be the most difficult to find is this chrome bar. I'm not sure where you can find that, as it's a part of a desk. But I'm sure you can find it somewhere. I just got really lucky with this. If you have any questions, please send me a message on the Strictly Nerd Facebook page or the Strictly Nerd Twitter page. I would be glad to answer them for you. If you guys make your own or have made your own, please let me know, show me. I would really like to see them because I find them super interesting. I hope this inspires you guys to make your own hilts. You can make them look awesome with just random stuff. I mean, overall, this thing probably cost me, because I used pretty much all spare parts. It probably cost me the $4 for the leather bag of leather scraps that I got, and $2 for the black paint. So I mean, I got lucky with these parts and everything, but it may be a few $5 more for the super glue and the hot glue. So I made it on the cheap, and it looks really good, but I got lucky with these pieces. I hope you guys enjoyed this episode. Stay tuned for more real Fabricate episodes. This is kind of a makeshift episode where I just wanted to show you the lightsaber that I made, and I will make more episodes in the future where I actually show you guys how to make things. Thanks for watching, and don't forget to like, comment, subscribe, and share. I know that's 4 things. I know Brian likes to say the big 3, but I say 4 because I want you guys to comment. I want to hear what you guys have to say about whatever we're talking about. So, thanks for watching, and I'll catch you guys next time. Yeah.